Honesty. No legacy is so rich as honesty. William Shakespeare. We often talk about honesty. At work and at home, we lecture one another about honesty. We want our children to be honest. We parents often forget that young children are honest. They do not lie. They do not steal. They are not dishonest, as they have not been exposed to dishonesty. As they grow up, they see examples of it around them. One of my little patients, Adil, has such a beautiful smile that it can turn anybody's regular day into a special day. Whenever Adil enters my room with that smile, he brings along so much joy. On one visit, when I was about to say bye to him after the consultation, he whispered something into his mother Smita's ear and then said, "Injection." I was surprised to hear that, as Adil was not scheduled to receive a vaccine that day. I asked his mother why he was mentioning an injection. What Smita said made me smile. Adil has become a fussy eater, and I had warned him that if he doesn't start eating properly, he will get an injection from the doctor. She said, when Adil realized that the examination was over and his mother had forgotten to ask the doctor to give him an injection, he reminded his mother. At the age of 4, he knew very well that injections hurt, yet he reminded his mother about it. I have rarely seen an act of such pure honesty. We, as parents, need to remember that while we cannot always prevent exposure to dishonesty outside our homes, at home we need to be role models. We need to emphasize the value of honesty through our conduct. We need to encourage a discussion on what is honest and what is not as often as we can. Asking for medical leave from school so that a child can go for a family function is dishonest. Getting someone else to do a child's homework is dishonest. Neither can happen without the approval or support of parents. I have noticed over the years the emergence of holiday project services. In order to keep their students occupied meaningfully during the summer vacation, schools prescribe holiday projects. The idea behind these projects is to encourage students to think about issues beyond books. The scale and degree of complexity of the projects can vary. Some parents do not want or do not have the time to work with their child on the holiday projects. Sensing an opportunity, agencies have sprung up to complete holiday projects. For a fee, simple and complex holiday projects can be delivered at one's doorstep. When parents make use of such services, they perhaps do not realize that by encouraging this practice, they have introduced their child to dishonesty. A story that exemplifies the virtue of honesty is one of my favorites. There was once a Chinese emperor who had no children. He asked for thousands of children to be brought to his palace. He then announced that one of those children would be chosen as his successor. He gave every child a seed and asked the children to go back to their homes, plant the seed in a pot and look after it. He told them that he would assess their effort a year later and choose his heir. All the children started tending to the seed that had been given to them. There was a little boy whose pot, despite being watered every day, showed no sign of life. Weeks passed and the little boy's pot remained just as it was, while the pots of the other children started to sprout flowers and shrubs. The little boy was disappointed, but kept watering the pot every day. A year went by and his pot remained barren. As the time to meet the emperor came, the little boy started to worry that he would be ridiculed as only his pot was bereft of life. His mother told him that as the emperor wanted to see all the pots, he would need to go irrespective of the consequences. The little boy went to the palace and felt ashamed at his inadequacy, as all the other pots looked beautiful with magnificent plants. The emperor started to inspect all the pots. When he saw the barren pot, he asked the little boy what had happened. The little boy replied, "Your Majesty, I cared for the seed and watered it every day for 1 year, but nothing happened." After he had inspected all the pots, the emperor said, "Last year I gave you all seeds. All the seeds had been boiled, so they were useless. As I see all the beautiful flowers and plants, I realize that all of you substituted the seeds I gave you when you saw that there was no sign of life. Only this little boy with a barren pot has displayed integrity, which I believe is the most important value of leadership. He therefore shall be my heir." While we should lead by example, we also need to share examples of honesty with children. Lal Bahadur Shastri served as Prime Minister of India for a rather brief period from 1964 to 1966. He was an exceptional leader whose simplicity and integrity made him stand out as a statesman. Born on the same day as Mahatma Gandhi, Lal Bahadur Shastri was his devoted disciple. He was arrested several times by the British during India's freedom struggle. Once, he was granted permission to spend 15 days with his sick daughter. By the time he reached home, his daughter had unfortunately died. He performed the last rites and, 3 days later, returned to prison even though he could have stayed on for 12 more days. On another occasion, he was given 7 days of furlough from prison to tend to his ailing son. Although his son continued to remain seriously ill, Shastri returned to prison on the completion of 7 days. Another statesman known for his honesty was Abraham Lincoln. When Lincoln worked as store clerk in New Salem, he earned the title of Honest Abe. He once walked several miles to return extra pennies he had charged a customer by mistake. On another occasion, a customer bought half a pound of tea but received only a quarter pound as the weighing scale was faulty. Lincoln closed the store and walked a fair distance to deliver the other quarter pound of tea. Word about his honesty spread, and he was held in high esteem by everyone. In an election for the Senate, Lincoln lost to Stephen Douglas. 2 years later, Lincoln and Douglas fought for the presidency. When Douglas was informed that Lincoln had won, he said to the person who broke the news, "You have nominated a very able and very honest man." Sports is another arena wherein honesty is of the highest importance, as sports without fair play loses all its sheen. Bobby Jones was the first golfer to win 4 major tournaments in a single year. In one national championship, Bobby drove his ball into the woods and accidentally nudged it. Even though no one had seen him nudge the ball, he penalized himself and lost the game by a stroke. When everyone praised him for his integrity, he said, "You might as well praise a man for not robbing a bank." In an athletics event in 2012, Ivan Fernandez Anaya saw Abel Mutai, who was leading the cross-country race, pull up about 10 meters before the finish line in the mistaken belief that he had crossed the line. Anaya could have easily benefited by going ahead, but instead he stayed behind and through gestures guided Mutai to cross the finishing line first. On graduating, doctors take the Hippocratic Oath. The oath serves to instill in a doctor the need to adhere to several core values at all times. Honesty is one such value. Honesty in professional relationships with colleagues and honesty in the doctor-patient relationship. As a pediatrician, breaking catastrophic news to parents is very difficult. To tell parents that they are going to lose their child is, to my mind, the hardest task a pediatrician faces. While one can choose gentle words, expressions, and phrases, a pediatrician has to be honest even though it is easier to paint a rosy picture. Even if hope is all that keeps both the family and the doctor going, one has to be realistic and absolutely honest. What I have discovered is that when things are going downhill, parents, perceptive as they are, can sense it. If parents know that everything possible has been done, they slowly accept the reality of loss. I distinctly remember having a difficult conversation with Sheena and Nipesh, the parents of baby Ivan, who needed a liver transplant but was unfortunately suffering from multiple other problems which did not allow us to go ahead with the operation. The baby had been referred to Apollo Hospital from Kenya for a transplant. When we lost Ivan, the whole team felt really sad as we had become attached to him. We had been honest in sharing our assessment and the family was deeply appreciative of this approach. They felt that our honesty had helped them prepare for the inevitable. They wrote a beautiful card thanking us for keeping him as comfortable as we could in his final days. Sheena set up a foundation in Ivan's memory and requested me to join the advisory board. Rakhi and Adesh Oswal, who lost a baby waiting for a liver transplant, were very appreciative of the honest approach. They support an annual academic program at our center in the memory of their son, Kumar Viren Oswal. They even christened their daughter with the name I had picked for her. Whenever I have to break news about the deterioration in a child's condition, it shows on my face. No matter how hard I try not to take the load home, I fail. When Nandini and Devang see me looking glum, they ask me what is going on. As I cannot discuss details because of patient confidentiality, all I can say is it is not easy being honest when you have to share devastating news. The message I hope to pass on to Devang is that just because it is tough, it does not mean we should take an easier route. Honesty and integrity are often used interchangeably, but they are different. There can be honesty without integrity, but no integrity without honesty. Honesty has to do with being truthful and upfront, while integrity is doing what is right without worrying about the consequences. Subrata Bagchi, in his book The Professional, describes integrity quite simply. We follow the rules. Where rules do not exist, we use fair judgment. When in doubt, we do not go ahead and do what suits us. We seek counsel. If faced with a dilemma, we ask ourselves, can my act stand public scrutiny without causing embarrassment to me and my family? This description addresses a complex issue in a manner simple enough for a child to understand. In each of our hospitals, we present honesty awards on our annual day. Staff members who have displayed honesty are honored. I distinctively remember one security guard who was awarded for returning an iPhone, a laptop, and USD 10,000 that a foreign patient had misplaced. What this young lady returned was more than her salary for several years, but she did not think twice before doing what was right. I make it a point to talk about these awards with Devang to reinforce the point that there are a lot of honest people. We just need to keep our eyes open. In the northeastern state of Mizoram, there is a remarkable example of honesty. Along the highway to the capital, Aizawl, are several shops referred to as Nigalu DAWR shops. These shops have no shopkeepers. The shop owners display vegetables, fruits and flowers along with a rate list. Next to the rate list is a container into which customers are supposed to drop the money. The customers choose what they want to buy, calculate what is due using the rate list, and leave the money in the container. This business works on trust and has for decades. It is a living example of communities adhering to integrity in a world where this virtue is rare to find. Albert Camus had said, "Integrity needs no rules." This certainly holds true in Mizoram at the Nigalu DAWR shops. When we see our children display honesty, we should be lavish in our praise. Praise can serve as positive conditioning that encourages a child to repeat behavior that earns him or her praise. When that behavior is repeated several times, it becomes a part of the child's nature. Every time we get tempted to take a path leading away from honesty, we should remind ourselves about incidents from the lives of Abraham Lincoln, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Bobby Jones, and Ivan Fernandez Anaya. We should look around and appreciate ordinary men and women who display extraordinary honesty. If we follow the path of honesty, so will our children. Honesty is more than not lying. It is truth telling, truth speaking, truth living, and truth loving. James E. Faust.